If you know Tony Fadell, he was the creator of the iPod. He almost frames it as a sort of cowardice. People who always want a 100% safety net from data before they'll do anything. He says that's fine for questions that can be convincingly answered through data, which is very often optimizations and incremental improvements, like doing more of what's already working. But then he draws like a strict division for a different type of question, which is fundamentally like the leap of faith, the entrepreneurial job, the product designer's job. And he says in these cases, like there isn't data. And you get a bunch of people sitting around a boardroom saying like, we need the data, we need the data. And he's like, there is no data. And so his view on it is that the founder or the entrepreneur or like the product leader's job is to be the person who somewhat unfairly like assumes that risk and basically puts their career on the line to be the one who allows everyone else to buy in. It's like in those stupid detective movies where like the cop is like, I'm going to do this thing. And their boss is like, you can't do this thing. And they're like, I'm going to do this thing. And it's like, okay, but you'll be fired if this thing doesn't work. Like that's basically like the setup. Then he goes like, okay, that's like, unfortunately, the team dynamics. But then Tony says like, these aren't guesses. Like the early job, like when you do your qualitative research, when you talk to people, when you spend time immersed in the industry or in the job or the customers' lives, or, you observe them just doing their work. And any of these ways are just like getting this unbiased kind of evidence about what they're trying to do and how they do it and all of this. What that's doing is building your intuition. So it's not giving you data, but like allowing these leaps that you make to be more correct, more true, better, And he's like, you would never go into an industry where you didn't have sufficient intuition, like, and try to be like, aha, this is the product. Like that would be like foolish. That would just be gambling. So yeah, you have to build the intuition. The way you do that is this firsthand qualitative contact. Like that's different from data, And he's like, and there's different types of questions and there's different situations within a product's like growth trajectory where you can use one or the other. He says where people really get stuck is they mix up the two. Like if a question can be answered with data, it's foolish to do it off of intuition. If a question can't be answered with data, like it's foolish to demand that it should be, or that the data should exist, right? Either way, it like slows you down or makes you suboptimal. And that's a pretty simple thing. It's like, could there be data for this? Yes, no. If not, like, okay, do we feel like we have enough intuition about like the customer's lives, worldview, workflow, existing solutions? For me, I'm calling this now the foundation of understanding, which I'm kind of defining as like, yeah, you basically know how the industry works, but like foundation of understanding on top of that is, do you have a functioning mental model of the customer's existing behavior and decision-making? So like, are you able to tell the story of what they're currently doing to deal with this issue, even if that means they're just ignoring the issue, why they're doing it that way, how they ended up doing it that way, what else they tried, why those other things didn't work, what they haven't tried, why they didn't try those things? Like if you can basically tell that story of the customer's existing behavior and decision-making, you've got a working mental model. And then with that foundation of understanding, that's the base or the ground from which you take your visionary leaps, which are bigger jumps than you would be able to answer with pure data because they're in that different category.